Hello, everybody. We'll be getting started in about 5 minutes, as usual. So stick around.
Dirtle for 5 minutes.
Look at Keith's handsome face. It's too bad the draw function went down. I could make a smiley face on this.
Oh yeah, just draw.
Okay.
Let's say, did Keith get a new haircut? It looks very sleek now. His head.
It's very smooth.
Yeah.
It is. I'm a sexy bastard.
But no neck.
No.
That's a deal breaker for me.
He's a Dullahan now.
I mean, it's very symmetrical. It's very well portioned. I applaud you.
I do.
Oh yes. Have you guys seen the meme Drag Emperor Luard thing that went up on Vanguardians today?
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
spelling errors and all.
Yeah, the spelling errors and the just the wall of text that obscures the art.
Yeah.
That was great. I wonder exactly how far we can go before, what is the most text that Bushiroad has put on a card without terribly obscuring the art? Because there are a couple that are pushing it, but I want to know what the absolute most they can do is. How complicated can skills get before you just run out of space on the card?
I mean, remember Relinquished in Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh my god, that was nice.
4-point font.
Oh my god, it was so small.
I don't know. Glindios to me was kind of pushing it.
It wasn't that much text.
Glindios. I don't know. It was like a full body profile picture, but you only really saw from the waist up.
Yeah. It's because he had so many individual skills. It wasn't like a wall of text, but he had 4 different skills.
Yeah.
Looking like a PowerPoint slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some.
No,
honestly, just
Brad.
Up to its crotch in text, and Gilderay also has a lot of text on it. Thanks, chat.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't been paying attention to Vanguard today because all of the Crash Bandicoot reviews came out, and I've been enjoying myself.
How does it look?
How good is it done?
I hear it's really, really good. IGN did a video of certain levels of the PS1 compared to a PS4 Pro running it, and it's just super funny. Okay, 4K Crash Bandicoot versus 240p Crash Bandicoot. This'll go well.
It's like a kid on a trike competing with an Aston Martin.
Yeah.
In a race.
Yeah. I think on IGN it got an 8.5, which made me really happy.
It's pretty good.
Yay.
Solid.
Crash is back, and he doesn't suck. Cortex Strikes Back. Oh, Telltale Games. How I don't miss them at all.
Mm. Oh, wow. This is probably the best my camera's ever been. I'm just watching it on the screen.
That high definition.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Just think, Keith, you went all the way home for this.
Why the fuck did I could have literally just sat at your place, Ryan, and done this on my phone.
Yup.
Yeah.
And I have 55 downloads, so 17 uploads, so that's not terrible.
Rip.
Better than I used to have anyway.
I don't know. I think the internet speed of living on campus makes it worth it. It's a bold statement.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I just got this laptop, and I'm losing about 1% a minute to this Google Hangout. That's great.
1% a minute.
Yeah, I'm am I gonna make it all the way through?
Plug it in.
Yep. I just unplugged it because I'm it's 100%. I want to move it, and I don't want to plug it in again. And now I'm on countdown. This is great.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. For the last year, my Mac has been giving me the little caution triangle saying service battery, and I've just been kind of ignoring it. So one day, I assume my battery's just going to explode, and it'll be fine.
I get about 16 minutes of battery life on my old computer if it's not plugged in. 16 minutes at 100%. That is how much. That is how bad that is degraded.
That is great.
All right, well, it is 7:40, and we are getting Damage Check started. Hello, everybody, Team Absolution fans. Welcome to Damage Check. We stopped counting a long time ago. I am joined today by the Phantom Nate.
Hello.
The Irish God Keith.
John Cena!
And Andrew the Sixth Ranger.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to top that.
And I am, of course, the Captain. So, moving right on into spoilers. We're going to start today with the new Prism troop. Oh boy. And Andrew, whip out your Bermuda expertise. And oh my god, there are so many heart emojis in this post, simply because that's how it actually looks, that I'm trying to count just how many there are, and it looks like a text between Jose and his girlfriend who is visiting. That's why he's not here. You'll have to forgive him. We all have.
What's this about forgiving him?
Yeah, I wasn't on board with that.
We got to give him a manly salute. Yeah. Anyway, we got Orient, Prism, Kaname. She has a sleeve, too. So she is a triple R stride from the new set. Auto, Vanguard Circle, Counterblast 1, and choose a face-down card from your G-Zone with the same card name as this unit, and turn it face up. And choose 2 of your root guards and return them to your hand. When this unit attacks, if you have a heart card with Prism in its card name, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to 2 cards with Prism in its card name from your hand for each face-up card in your G-Zone, and call them a separate rear guard circle. If you call 3 or more cards, this unit gets critical +1 till end of that battle. Neat!
Hey.
I hate everything about my life right now. I want you all to know this.
Don't worry about it, Nate. This card won't actually be run in most builds, surprisingly.
Really? It seems like it has an amazing mid-game.
So so as it turns out, the biggest problem with this card is that it only bounces 2 units. It only bounces 2 units at a time, meaning that the whole call down 4 for like call down 2 per face-up card. Yeah, you're going to be calling over units if you wanted to attack beforehand. So unless you want to run the new support, which is all like on attack, bounce cards, Counterblast 1, whatever, really inefficient stuff, Kaname is at most a one-time use. And the issue with Prisms actually is that the G-Zone's really tight right now. You've got Labrador, you've got Olivia, you've got Vert, you have to run Anji, the new GB8, and given that Anji is a persona flip now in English, like, there's no space left in the G-Zone for Kaname.
Yes, important notes about Anji, as we have gotten confirmation from Bushiroad. She, 1, does not work on resist units, and 2, the story of the week in Vanguard news, I guess, is that we actually now have a card that has different text in English than it does in Japanese. We officially got hit with the Weiss baton, and now we have different cards between TCG and OCG, although she may be errated later depending on what Bushiroad wants to do. No one is safe.
Yeah, based on the email that Bushiroad support sent back, it looks pretty safe to assume that this is Bushiroad quality control striking again, and it'll probably get errated. That's my take on it.
Now, which way do you think it'll get errated? Do you think it'll get errated towards the Persona Flip or away from the Persona Flip?
Away from the Persona Flip. Bushi doesn't want you running double Anjis, especially in a deck that's already kind of tight on G-Zone as is. I'm certain it's going to be errated away if it gets errated. And if it does get errated away, that actually does give you more space to run Kaname, but it's a tough call.
That is true. And so the thing about Kaname is she's like, I think she'd be an okay first stride, and that's probably about it. You won't use the other cards. Like, you can't really make use of more than 1 copy of her.
Right.
Honestly,
the problem with her replacing first stride is that Labrador is kind of better right now because she's, first off, she's free. She's like straight up free. Second off, one of the big power plays that Prisms has as a deck nowadays is that when you go into first turn Labrador, you bounce like 4 cards back to your hand, whatever. But then because of the new G guard, that gives you a huge hand that gives you a lot of shield on the new G guard, which gives you a lot more defensive power. The problem with Kaname is that your cards stay on the field when you call them back down. So you're literally losing cards out of your hand while getting the same number of attacks, or like maybe slightly more attacks, but not necessarily more powerful. I don't think it's as good a first stride as Labrador. It's not going to replace her, I don't think.
And how do we lose card games, boys and girls? We lose cards out of hand. All right, moving on to the next major spoiler. We have Duo Everlasting Riot. Yes, Duo still exists for some reason. Stride, another triple R. Auto, Vanguard Circle, Limit Break 4, Counterblast 1, and choose 3. Yeah, we still use Limit Break 4 too. And choose 3 cards with the same card name as each other and discard them. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked. If you have a heart card with Duo and its card name, you may pay the cost. Put this unit into your G zone face up. Choose up to 1 face down Duo Everlasting Writ from your G zone. Start it on Vanguard as stand. It gets drive -1, and all of its auto abilities are lost. Hit us with it, Andrew.
This sucks.
Take it away. This sucks.
All right, so the card itself is not the worst I've ever seen. But why is it Limit Break 4? Why do you have to discard 3 cards with the same name? Why does it lose all of its auto abilities?
You Kagero now.
Yeah.
That's why.
It is just... The card itself is fine. Duos are not, and this card doesn't save them. Discarding 3 of the same name, which is reasonably hard to do in Stride era, because a lot of Duo's abilities are in non-Stride, because Legion and such. It's not good. It's just not good. Duos are stuck in season 2. They're dead. 3 maybe. I don't know. They're dead. Great. This raid will not save them. It'll be a neat gimmick, but
Andrew, did you say? I thought you said that I won't even sleeve them, and I'm like,
honestly, I don't think they're worth sleeving.
Damn.
The ultimate disrespect.
Oh
Not
man,
gonna sleeve this guy.
it's just not good. Duos are just not good. Bushu doesn't know what they're doing with them.
All right, well let's see if the double R below it is any better. I think this is a grade 3. This is a grade 3. So Duo Sprinkle Light Priani. I have more trouble pronouncing Bermuda names than I do like Nubatama and Murakumo names. It's just double R, grade 3, Auto Vanguard Circle, Soul Blast 1. At the end of your turn, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose 2 or more cards with Duo and same card name as each other from your hand, and you may reveal them. That was weird. If you revealed 2 or more cards, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 card with Duo in its card name other than Duo Sprinkle Light Priani. Write it on Vanguard as rest and shuffle your deck. If you revealed 3 or more cards, draw a card. So you draw a card. That's what you do.
Why would
in
you
your deck?
ever run this card?
You wouldn't. It takes away your Stride fodder. Stop it. Go home.
Why would you ever run this card? First off, the issue with Duos right now is not that they're not writing the right grade 3, because they don't have a good grade 3 to write. They don't have a Stride grade 3. It doesn't exist. So the fact that this searches out any Duo grade 3 is nice if there were one you actually wanted to search out. I guess it sees play in the Legion deck, because the Legion deck only run 4 grade 3s anyway, so now you can run 4 more because this just searches it out. But why is this a double R? It's just not good. This is like a single R at best effect, maybe even a common. It's just not a good card.
I don't know. To me, both of these kind of felt like they were doing what they did with Raging Form. Like, I think the Stride is very reminiscent of Wrapped, and this is kind of reminiscent of the backup Raging Form dude. But kind of like you said, Duos don't need to be on a specific grade 3, kind of like Raging Form does. So I'm just kind of like, why does it matter? So, yeah.
Look, I could see it being relevant if the Stride had said, instead of like putting another Stride on there, instead put it face up and stand your Rete or something.
Yeah.
And then another double restand or something.
Yeah.
That working. But no, it calls another Rete from G zone.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Sorry, friend.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah.
So bad, so sad.
Duos are dead.
1 sec. I don't know why my Echo Dot turned on. I'm having the Jose problems. Anyway, all right, on to the Chouchous, the things that actually might be good. Chouchou Blanche. She is a grade 2, yes, and has very large eyes. Auto, Generation Break 1, Soul Blast 1, and choose one of your other rear guards with Chouchou in its card name and put it on the bottom of your deck. When the unit is placed on rear guard circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Reveal up to 1 card with Chouchou in its card name, not named this card. Put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, and this unit gets power +2K until end of turn. So,
This card is great. In Chouchous specifically. So one of the big issues with Chouchous is that, okay, if you're riding Tira, and the big thing with Tira is that you get free stride if you have one or fewer rear guards on the field. But a lot of Chouchous things are like tuck and then call a unit from hand, and so you never really got to clear your field. So what this card does is, so you'll tuck something, you'll call this card, you get to tuck something else now, and trigger a bunch of your other effects essentially, and it gets you an extra attack for the mere cost of Soul Blast 1, which is actually somewhat cheap. This is probably one of the best cards in Chouchous. I saw this card and I got really excited and I was like, oh man, Bushi is actually designing good cards for Chouchous. And then they didn't afterwards. So
So close.
You did
it's
your best.
it's one of the few good cards in Chouchous.
Well, all right, moving right along to Pacifica cards.
Oh,
Pacifica,
yes.
Pacifica. Check that TCG player. They're gone. They're gone. They're gone.
The Pacifica's the big winner of this set, and I'll just tell you about these cards once Ryan spoils it. Jeez.
All right, so Fantastic Passion Pacifica, but she has a star in her name, like a tattoo or something. Anyway, Stride, Auto, Vanguard Circle, Counterblast 1, and choose 3 cards with Pacifica and in their different card names. With Pacifica in their different card names from your hand. That's a terrible way to phrase things. And reveal them. When this unit attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do, return all of your rearguards to your hand. Choose up to 5 cards with Pacifica in their card names from your hand. Call them to separate rearguard circle. Until end of turn, they get power plus 5k and continuous rearguard circle generation break 2. This unit can attack a Vanguard from the back row.
All right. So remember last week when I was talking about how my GB8 that I bought at the start of the tournament won me like 3 of my games? Well, how would you like GB8 at GB2? Which is essentially what this card does, which is kind of disgusting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so it turns out that getting a bunch of 16k attacks is nice, but the big thing that really makes this sort of better than the GB8 card almost is that it's on attack. So you get your trigger checks. Your trigger checks go to your Pacificas. Your 16k Pacificas turned into 21k Pacificas. And so it's pretty good. The downside, however, is obviously now not only is your field flooded with a bunch of Pacificas, so you have a really shitty field the next turn, assuming you survive, but Pacifica is all about revealing 3 different names from your hand, and you just put a bunch of them down on the field. You're not going to have them in your hand anymore. So if you don't win with this card, you're probably dead. Yay! Or you're not going to win the next turn either. So it's a good card. It's a good power play. It's one of the winners of the set, I would say, that's been spoiled so far.
Gotta watch out for them. Watch out for them defensive triggers, or you're ruined. But that 5 damage, I want to push down. I'm not a GB8. Here you go. I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. All right. So, keeping up in the spoilers, we have. Should I read the Harmony Rare Stride spoiler?
Oh wait. Before you go into that. Make sure you read out the grade 1 Pacifica support spoiler.
All right, moving down to Friend of the Moon Marina. Auto, Counterblast 1. This unit is placed on rearguard circle. If you have a Vanguard with Pacifica in its card name, you pay the cost. If you do, choose up to 1 card with Pacifica in its card name from your hand, call it to rearguard circle. Choose up to 2 of your units with Pacifica in its card name, and they get power plus 3k until end of turn. If you chose 2 units with Pacifica in its card name, draw a card.
All right, so this card, okay, so the GR we just spoiled. That was a good card. We say that's a good card. This card is broken. Maybe not broken, but it is really, really good in Pacifica deck, obviously. So let me just give you an example of why this card is good. Think of your standard Olivia turn in a Bermuda Triangle deck. You attack with your rear guards, you attack with your rear guards, you attack with your Olivia, you bounce everything, you call down a column of Spica, and then Spica bounces something else and calls another column, and you get 5 attacks out of it. That's what makes Bermuda Triangle and Olivia turn scary, right? Well, now imagine this in a Pacifica deck. You stride Olivia. All right, you do your rearguard attack. You do your rearguard attack. You attack with Olivia. You bounce everything. But now you call a Marina. So it's the same Counterblast 1, but you call another Pacifica to an upper column. It also gets plus 3k. The Pacifica in front of the column gets plus 3k, so that's a 21 column. So this card gives you not only the same effect as Spica, it gives you an extra 5,000 power in this column, and it draws you a card. Spica just got reprinted because it's so strong and the price went up. This card is disgusting.
By the way, yes, Spica did get reprinted as a shop promo. Do that thing. Do that thing now. Go to your shops. Get Spikas. It's good. Recipe.
I like nothing that Andrew just said.
The best part about this card existing, though, is that so you know that was the new G Guard spoiled last week or this week? Have we gone over that yet?
Might be. What is this? I think it was last week. Yeah,
all right.
It's in the.
Yes.
It's in
So
the
remember,
pack.
is it Citron, the one that gets 10k?
I think that's right.
Okay, so yeah, remember last week there was a spoiler for a G Guard that says you may call a grade 1 or greater from your hand to RC, and if you do, it gets 10k shield, right? Well, if you call a Marina, Counterblast 1, drop a Pacifica, choose your Vanguard and that Pacifica, give them both 3,000, so you get 3,000 power to your Vanguard, and you draw a card for free, or for Counterblast 1, essentially. Offensively, that's just kind of disgusting, right? And this is a deck with Cross Ride.
Make it stop, please. I don't want to die.
So it's like the freest of the free, and it's great. If you look forward to me probably playing Pacifica at one of their upcoming regionals,
Ooh.
and we'll see how it works. But
And
I'm excited for
surprising
this.
people. All right. So we now have a crit for Chouchous. Chouchou Sarah, double R from the set. Auto, rearguard circle, generation break 1, counterblast 1, and put this unit into your soul. At the end of the battle, that your Vanguard with Chouchou and its card name attacked, you may pay the cost. If you do, draw a card, choose a card with Chouchou and its card name from your hand, call it to rearguard circle, and it gets power plus 5k until end of turn. Not bad.
Bushi Road, you print Belial Owl,
Yeah.
and then you print this.
If any crit that you print after Belial Owl is like, solid 5 out of 10, this is fine, what are you doing?
All right, so
Just
let's
give me more power.
So let me put it this way. Back in GCB01, the very first clan booster in G era for Bermuda Triangle, there was a card called Dreamer Crook. It was a stand trigger that said, when this card boosts, at the end of that battle, you may return this to your deck, return a unit to your hand, and call one down to get another attack out of it. So that's a stand trigger back in your deck. This Chouchou is, not only is it Counterblast 1, and it goes into your soul, not your deck, and you tuck a rear guard. Granted, you get to draw a card, but then you have to call another one. So it's a net 0. Crook was also a net 0, but she went back to the deck. And she was a single R.
And strike 3, this card's out of here.
Like it's an okay card. But Chouchou's needed some sort of engine, like Luard has an engine. This is not an engine. This is a Counterblast 1, put this into your soul, and that's never been good.
Not fantastic.
No.
You
Chouchou's
know,
has been relegated to tier D. Guaranteed.
You know what a good Counterblast 1 put into your soul is? Gatling Claw. That's a good card.
That's a good card.
No one's ever beaten Gatling Claw in terms of Kagero value.
God.
All right. And now for news. Nate, do we have any news other than the Ange thing and people posting a bunch of fake cards today?
Buyouts are bad. I call that news.
Buyouts are bad, okay?
Thanks, Mr. Mackey.
No problem. Yeah, I really don't think it's been that exciting of a week in Vanguard, so I think we're kind of light on news. Yeah.
Topic! Moving right along. All right, so for those of you still guessing in the chat about which clan we're talking about, welcome to the Bermuda Summer of 2017. It's another summer set, the 5th one, if I'm not mistaken. How many years have we been doing this for Bermuda? How many times has this happened?
Is this the 5th set? This is the 5th set, isn't it?
I think this might be the 5th set of Bermuda. And as you know, Bermuda Triangle get their own set of support in an extra booster, or now a clan booster, once a year. Every summer around July or August, they get a clan booster that either introduces new concepts or definitely supports them. But we want to talk about how this, one, impacts the game of Vanguard to have a clan of rather varying power as it's gone up and down and all around over the years, but also giving it a consistent release schedule once a year as the game changes. How has Bermuda benefited from this release schedule, and how has the game changed because Bermuda are always like this? So, of course, Andrew, the Bermuda expert, the Sixth Ranger, being on here, I'm going to let him take the lead on this one. So, Andrew, tell us about how Bermuda Summers impact the game of Vanguard, and how and when you feel like Bermuda's actually benefited the most or the least from this release schedule.
Oh, geez. Okay. So yeah, I've been playing Bermudas since CBO3, when they came out. That was the Riviera Pacifica set. That set was not good.
No.
Riviera was okay, but it really couldn't keep up with things like Kagero and Crossride and other things of that nature. And so Bermuda sort of derped around for a while, sitting way down, at least for that year. But then, the summer of 2013, I believe it was, Dazzling Divas was released. And the thing about Dazzling Divas was that it had a card called Prism Image Vert. And Prism Image Vert was the very first break ride ever released in English format. The rest of the team can attest as to the sort of reign of terror that I wrecked over the course of about 3 months through North Carolina, just playing Break Ride Vert with Labrador, because that deck was disgusting when no other decks had Break Rides.
It's true. He did, in fact, do precisely that thing. We couldn't do anything. I mean, we had Dote, we had MLB, we had Narukami, we had everything for this guy. And here he is going, nope, Labrador, you lose the game. Nope, I have a crit. Nope, Break Ride. I have so much power, you can't possibly block this.
Right.
Also, 3 more dudes.
And so that lasted for a glorious few months. What happened was that Bushiroad would learn from this, and they vowed to never again do this. And so in every single future set, from God, what was the mini set before that? Academy. For Academy, Blessings, and now Prismatic Divas coming out as the 3rd, 4th, and 5th set, they never again released the sort of new mechanic in the Bermuda set before everybody else got it. They switched up their timing because they're like, we just can't have this. And
so knowing that they're going to release this set once a year, even we pretty much know the Bermudas are coming out. It's not like Token Rambo where we kind of have to guess, like, will the rights hold up? No, it's, even though it's kind of its own thing, it doesn't usually mix with other clans. We know the Bermuda's coming out, and knowing that, they've intentionally manipulated the way the game has been released to us in general, just so Bermudas don't have too much or too little power. And I think there was one set where they actually did have too little power. It just wasn't a good set for them, and it was after that.
Yes, that was the Blessing of Diva set, last year's set. Because not only were the cards, not only was it released sort of too little too late, but the cards themselves were incredibly underpowered as well. Pretty much the only archetypes that got support in that year was Prisms. Hence why now the only Bermuda Triangle deck you see in tournaments is Prisms.
So really, we're looking at this topic, which is, it's mostly, of course, a discussion topic, but what we're really using it for is, it's a consistent once-a-year release that makes for a good case study of how Bushiroad is releasing the game. What do their design philosophies look like? When do they feel the game has gotten a little stale and needs to be refreshed, as we see like another archetype for Bermuda coming out? A couple of years ago, I believe Duo is 2 years old now. And last year, it was Harmony that came out. And they've consistently felt the need to introduce new things and new concepts, but because it's Bermuda and they're also expected to have old support or support for older cards, it all ends up in this weird conglomerate for just one half set to have Duos, Pacifica, Riviere, Harmony, and Prisms. That's 5 different archetypes, if I'm not missing any. There might even be another one that I'm forgetting.
There's 8 in this new set.
There's 8 different archetypes?
There's Prisms, Pacifica, Riviera, Coral, Reindeer, Shizuku, Harmony, and Chouchous.
And is that pretty representative of how we have gone about this, how Bushiroad has gone about this game so far, almost definitely. The only difference is Bushiroad doesn't leave any mermaids behind. We're getting coral and reindeer support, and it's good. That's nuts. Like, when was the last time we got a bluish flame card? No, that archetype is dead. Machinings have no good cards except Destroyer and maybe Stag Beetle. That archetype is basically dead. It's just hanging on by the ironclad hair that is Machining Destroyer. I mean, things get left behind all the time, but not Bermudas. It's like Bushiroad trying to tell us, continue hoping. We'll get to you eventually. But Bermudas are always taking up that one slot saying, nah, coral support. Stay away, bluish flames. I don't want you.
Honestly, that does seem to be a more recent trend rather than like a historical thing. Because if you think about it, it's only been really recently, in the past 2 years, that the Fighters collections have been sort of beefing up every single clan, as opposed to just having a few select good cards, and then the rest are just sort of pack fillers. And that sort of represents their design philosophy probably in the past 2 years or so, because even back in Academy of Divas, which was 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, the Harmony set, they mostly dedicated space to Harmony. Like, they didn't give a lot of extra support, so to speak. It was really a brand new archetype, and that was sort of borne out by the fact that the big deck at the time was actually Harmony Stride as opposed to Prisms at the time. But starting around Fighters Collection 2016, I want to say, maybe even 2015, they really started giving support to every single clan. They give you like a power-up card, and then a card that synergizes with like an older card. And they've really done this with every single set since then. It's like they recognize that the secondary market, like, they want their old cards to be useful in some sense. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. But consistently since like Clan Booster 01, when they started the G era, they've gone back and just given more support to the old archetypes, And while Bermuda may be sort of the most like obvious of this with the 8 archetypes that are being supported in Prismatic Divas right now, like, even if you look at like in set 11 that's coming out right now, Blade Wing is going to become a good deck again.
Oh,
because they're getting support, right? Like, Blade Wings are a good deck now. Raging Form was a deck a little while ago. Like, who expected these cards to come back? And I think that's a part of their design philosophy now, is that they want, at the cost of designing more complete and interesting new archetypes, they're providing support to the old archetypes and sort of rebuffing them for the new era. But I don't really know if that's a good thing or not. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'll just jump in here like super quick. I mean, the perfect example is how duos have fared in this set. Duos weren't that great to begin with, and they've consistently been mediocre. Keith, take it from here.
I was playing Showdown and did not hear Andrew's discussion.
Kate, you had one job. I can't see you. You're like a kid hiding under his desk playing Game Boy in the middle of class. Like, oh, I'm sorry, teacher, I didn't hear what you said. Well,
yeah, I'm totally that student right now. I'm sorry,
don't make me hit you with the ruler. I'll get my ruler. You're only 10 minutes away, Keith. I could walk there if I wanted to.
Well, what was the topic? Can I jump in now? Am I too late?
Sure, Keith. Why don't you jump into this riveting discussion we've got here about the nuances of Bermuda Triangle, a clan you have never cared to actually play, and feared to play against. Keith, why don't you tell me the way that Bushiroad has supported, how Bushiroad supporting outdated Bermuda archetypes has just continued to be awful in some cases?
Oh, shit.
Oh, no, that's your failing grade. Goodbye, Keith. Nate, you're on deck.
I love it.
I mean, I kind of like what they're doing to a certain extent because, we all have those favorite cards. Like, I was a diehard Raging Form fan. But, post Limit Break era, I had no intuition, no expectation that Raging Form, or even Revengers for that matter, would see future support. So, while I don't think they've handled it great, specifically last year Bermuda's kind of got the shaft, sorry. I do like that they support these older archetypes because it does add that little bit of stability that even if you're investing in some older cards in Bermuda, there's a potential that they will have some relevance again. Whereas if you like just go out and buy like your favorite Revenger or Seal Dragon, God forbid, or go to Nova Grapplers, pick up Death Army, see how well that's gonna go. You can wait a century and you'll never get Death Army support again. So, while I don't, I'm being honest. While I don't think they've done a great job this last year, I do like the concept that they do have some sensitivity to people liking these old cards, and if not making them like perfect, like not bringing them up to tier 1, they at least somewhat make them playable in the meta. That's just my general.
Nova Grappler, the king of
Yeah.
left behind archetypes. How many of those are like functionally dead? Very nearly all of them right now. What do we got? Death Army.
I mean, in the Stride era, you have Blouse and Victor. And I mean, if you're going Fighters Collection, you have Beast Deities.
We never
and
go Fighters
Ashura
Collection.
Kaiser.
Except
Yeah.
Machinings. Then we go Fighters Collection.
Nope.
Yeah.
But
so-
actually, I was actually thinking about Nova Grapple a little while ago because I was thinking about what I wanted to compare the new Rete to, because like the new Rete is bad, but it's sort of like a pseudo restandard.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, let me just compare this to Nova Grappler. I looked at the Nova Grappler cards. Why are these worse than Rete? What is going on?
Yeah.
So yeah, Nova Grapplers really got shafted with that. They're the sort of kings of unsupported right now.
Let's see. Death Army, Beast Deities, functionally kill.
Risers.
Risers, Ashura Kaiser, and all of his ilk.
We'll talk about Risers. Go away, Keith. They never existed.
Four dead archetypes within one clan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enjoy.
That's
It's
bad.
the most over-supported clan with the one that fails the most.
Woo! I don't know. Can I throw out a topic discussion?
Go for it.
I kind of
Oh,
want
wow.
to discuss how this release schedule really impacts Bermuda's in the tournament scene. Because I think it's fascinating that year to year, we can't really anticipate what the next year is going to bring in terms of what decks are going to top. Like, we can speculate within reason. Like, Saint Guard was really good. We were somewhat confident that would stick around for a while. But Bermuda is really the only clan where we can definitely say almost every year without fail, between July, August, and September, it is going to have a reasonable number of tops. It is the only clan I can think of that consistently has a predictable time frame for when it is going to top, and it will top. Which I think is cool. Like, if you want to build a deck that you know will top at least once, Bermudas can do that. But on the other hand, it sucks because, if you're playing the game outside of those 3 months, you're kind of left behind.
Only
And
Andrew
especially
gets
in
to
like
top
the
after that.
Bushiroad tournament scene. Especially in the Bushiroad tournament scene where they have worlds in January, February area, Bermudas can never top worlds because they're always 6 months out of the loop.
Now that's a discussion topic. All right, so Andrew, of course, you have priority. You get to go first. Hit Nate with them facts.
So first off, hey guys, ARG Nats is in August. It's 3 weeks after Bermuda release.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's how it
For you
was
guys.
last year. Lots of Bermuda last year at Nats. Played two of them.
Yeah. To be fair, last year the Bermuda set was pretty shitty. So all that was existed there was
Olivia.
was Verts and Olivia's. So all Prisms. But this year, well, you'll see Prisms. You'll probably see Pacificas. You might even see Reindeers. But in any case, one of the interesting things that I've seen as a Bermuda player is that the decks that are good in Bermuda Triangle, sure, there's a sort of power spike when the set is released, but the weird thing is that Bushiroad's in the past 3 years anyway, they're pretty hesitant after the Dazzling Divas fiasco. They're hesitant to give Bermuda Triangle like really strong cards that'll last them through the year, which is why like Prisms is our tier C deck. That's the only one that's currently viable because that's the only one they actually give reasonable support to. But the other issue is that the support they gave it back in like Dazzling Divas and Fighter Collection was so strong that it's sort of pushed them through this year-long drought of support, so to speak. But I feel like they're a lot more cautious about giving good support to Bermudas now. And so you'll see a minor power spike, but generally it's only enough to sort of catch up Bermuda to the current power levels. You're never going to see something in Bermudas that will dominate for a full year again, like in Dazzling Divas. And so honestly, I think it's just archetypes, because Bushiroad just has, like, I don't know, a soft spot for Prisms or something. Every year, Prisms consistently gets the best support. Always just the best support comes for them. But I don't think that Bermudas will ever win Worlds, simply because yeah, the release timing is awful and they'll get power creeped out after a couple of months. But also, Bushiroad is so afraid of giving them enough power in this yearly set that they wouldn't have enough power to win Worlds even if Worlds was like the month after the set was released. They just don't give them enough support for that. It's the fan service clan. What can I say? People buy like there's a huge following in Japan, and people buy it there because waifus. I like the clan mechanics. I also like waifus, but I have no sort of illusions that this will ever be a tier 1 deck again, because Bushiroad will never do that again.
We've had enough. That was all. That's all there ever was. And it is rather strange that one time things happened to go so very well for Bermudas, because if I'm not mistaken, it's one thing that Japan and America typically get at the same time, correct? It's released at exactly the same time, but because English was delayed, we actually got Bermuda break rides first instead of other break rides. So now that the release schedule is a little more caught up, somewhat, we're still like 3 months behind on main sets, but sometimes and now we get our own products occasionally. But it is so very strange to have something bent around just so you know exactly how powerful it will be, because oftentimes I don't feel like Bushiroad really does know how powerful it is. They'll make powerful cards, sure, and maybe you can expect those decks to do well simply because those things come up, but I mean, clearly Bushiroad did not think that Sanctuary Guard was going to be the deck for 2 years running. Or then that Seven Seas Rush was going to take Worlds. Like, there isn't a whole lot that Bushi can do or does do to really influence how the competitive community plays Cardfight Vanguard. Of course, we've joked many times that they don't really care, but it seems that Bermuda Triangle is something that they've specifically manhandled. Now, that's a scary thought, isn't it? To make sure to keep its competitive nature under control, because usually the cards are good, but they're either released oddly, or they're released an archetype that wasn't good to start with, or sometimes they just actually take over. But it's as Nate said, you can reasonably expect them to be pretty decently strong out of the gate, or at least strong enough to top a reasonable amount, and then they fall off over the year. I mean, that is the once-a-year curse. But at least they have a support all to themselves.
Yeah, it's like you can look at the Bushiroad tournament schedule and say, okay, what tournaments have they scheduled for the July, August, maybe September timeframe? Do you want to play against Bermudas? Do you have Bermudas? That's probably when you should go to those events. But I hate playing against Bermudas, so, I'm never going to want to go to those summer events just because I know that's when Bermuda comes out, that's when they're popular, that's when they're going to top. So, you can reasonably say, if you don't want to play against this deck, you have 9 months out of the year you can essentially go to a tournament and reasonably predict that they really won't be there en masse, which I think is just interesting. Like, the fact that I could plan 2-3 years in advance exactly when I want to go to a tournament, and I can be fairly certain that I won't run into Bermuda Triangle. Just interesting.
Unless you play Andrew.
Unless I play Andrew, which I always seem to do for some reason.
But Bermuda Summers is something we can always typically rely on, and Nate took that in an interesting direction with how it actually impacts the competitive community and the tournament schedule. But of course, Bermuda does have its diehard fans out there. Still no made SPs. I was wrong again. I don't want made SPs. I want to make that very clear to everyone that this is not. I'm not asking for this. I'm just saying that it's weird that Bushi hasn't done it yet. I am honestly surprised.
This is the last Guardian prediction. I guarantee it will happen the year you don't predict it. Keep it up, Ryan.
I'm in there. I'll just predict that every year, and then we'll never have to see that.
Exactly.
Praise. But it's time for you guys, unless anyone have anything else to say about Bermuda Summers? Anything at all?
I'd like to chime in.
Go for it. You know what? I'd love to hear what you
He
have to say.
lives!
Yeah. Hello, everyone. This is the Irish God to tell you about Bermuda Triangle. The one thing I'm actually
Just drop perfect timing.
The one thing I'd like to say, drop.
Hey, he nuked that drop. I don't. Okay. In the case that he's not coming back, I want to move this straight on to hashtag #AskAbsolution time. Send me your hashtag #AskAbsolutions. We'll pick out the best questions that we see are the ones most relevant to this particular episode of Damage Check. So let them rip. Let's see what you guys got.
We couldn't have planned that to go that well. That was
amazing.
perfect.
He nuked that drop.
That drop was nuked.
All right, two Bleach fans. Hashtag #AskAbsolution. 7 Seas worth building. I assume you mean 7 Runner, Diver Down, 7 Seas Rush, however you want to call it. Is it worth building? I would actually say, granted, if you have $50, yes. I don't see why not. It's a deck that, while not doing as well as it had in the past, you actually might be in a unique position to steal some games, as people are now, while blasters and some Luar decks are able to run more 10Ks to stall you out, and some other decks are adapting to that, I would say that as gears, we run into like set 11, we stop seeing the 10K deck and start seeing the 9Ks again. So it might be an investment that's not too terrible for you at the moment.
7 Seas Rush, huh? Let me think about this. So the interesting thing is that the Luar decks are always going to run the 10Ks, I feel. It's so strong for them, and they always want to stride first, and they're just running control builds and whatever. I feel like 10Ks are sort of a part of the control meta now, and 7Cs obviously are not good against 10Ks. But the other thing is that Bushiroad is designing quite a few cards that actually like aren't GB1 restricted anymore. And so that means that there's a lot of decks that can just straight up take you on, because there's a bunch, they'll actually start using non-GB1 skills. They don't have to stride against you. Granted, the grade 3 game still is bad against 7 Seas Rush or whatever, but non-GB1 skills I feel are getting designed, and they're getting played. They're getting put into decks. Again, it's a $50 deck. It'll probably be a $40 deck in a couple of weeks. If you have the spare cash, you might just want to build it. But with the amounts of 10Ks running around the meta, they'll just stomp all over you. And again, remember, Prism's Bermuda Summer is coming, and Prisms is one of your absolute worst matchups because they don't care about striding. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's worth It's technically worth the money just because Vanguard has kind of gotten expensive lately. So even if you're looking at building just like a tier 2, tier 3 deck, it's still running you $200+. So $50 to drop for kind of a roguey deck is not at all a terrible investment. It's just more, do you have the tolerance to play it and get hated always?
Oh, our Irish God is back.
He has returned. Hello.
It said I was removed. I also did an entire spiel on that shit, and I did not realize I was gone.
We really hope you did it on purpose, because that was amazing. The thing about Bermuda Triangle is, and then the call dropped, and we're like, he nuked that drop. I don't know what you wanted.
Fuck. I was like talking for like 10 minutes, and then I looked at my thing, and it was like, oh, I'm not here anymore. God damn.
We promise, Keith. Nobody removed you on purpose. I don't know.
I'm watching you all.
All right.
I know
Okay.
there's a secret British person in this team out to get me. Yeah. All right. What are we talking? Okay, I'm not gonna go do my spiel again because
No, we're already like halfway through hashtag #AskAbsolution, Keith.
All right, let's get the next.
All right. Hashtag #AskAbsolution from Eternal Ringmaster. Got to do Eternal Ringmaster. Boy Mermaids is time. Yay or nay? Nay. I mean, like, nay. We don't want no Boku no Pico in here. Please no. Anyway,
This is what Token Rambo is for.
that is take the pretty samurai boys and leave. Hashtag #AskAbsolution. When are we getting more Twitch Shadowverse streams? Just play Shadowverse with me, friend. Maybe when I can get a webcam and actually start Twitch streaming, then maybe yes, we can do some Shadowverse stream. Wonderland Dreams is out. Go have some fun. Let's see. Hashtag Absolution. This is one for you, Nate. Maybe. What do you hope the new Luard Stride from Set 12 will do?
Man, I don't know. Shadows already have everything. I don't know what to ask for anymore. I mean, as kind of memey and janky as the Luard was on the Vanguardians, I don't hate the idea of a unit that has like multiple, because they have done this kind of lately. A card that has like, okay, if you're Ritual 5, you get this skill. Then if you're Ritual 10, you get this skill. And if you're Ritual 15, you get even this skill. I don't hate that concept. It's just like, what would those skills do? I Superior Call. I draw. I retire. I have a Restander.
I get a crit. I get power.
Like, what ghost can you give me? So, yeah, I have no expectations for this card because we do it all already. All you can do is have it be better or worse.
I mean, Nate's not wrong. I mean, I also really like the concept of multi-tiered abilities, especially for a boss card that seems like you can tailor it to any stage in the game. Mm-hmm. Like, if this card is just a good closer at any time, assuming you're meeting the minimum, maybe you want to use it earlier, but maybe it's not a fantastic closer against specific matchups, so you need to wait till later. Like,
yeah.
Having that sort of thing isn't a bad thing, but as Nate says, there's only so much it can do. Now, granted, my one caveat to that is this. We have seen plenty of cards recently that do very interesting things. We had the Murakumo Stride that called Strides out to use as rear guards. For some reason, not really sure why that happened, but we did. Bushiroad has been taking a few more liberties with game design lately, and I feel like finally introducing the concept of the Dragon Emperor, which we've been just hinting at with Overlord or any of the Supreme Heavenly Dragon Emperors or Vermilion or that other guy who was also supposed to be really VMAX, who had the Dragon King's DNA in nice gold font. Enjoy your Comic Sans. But now we're finally getting this Shadow Paladin Dragon Emperor, and it's got to impress us. It has to. And while the meme one with like the 3/4 of a card of text is funny, it has to be damn amazing or we're just disappointed. It doesn't even matter if we want to play it. It doesn't even matter if it's competitive. We could just have streamlined decks that don't use the card. But if it's not amazing or like good or we could see use for it, don't print the card. Like, we know what's coming. And the fact that they've hyped it up so much only increases our expectations. All right, let's see. Hashtag Ask Absolution, and my thing went down. Is Luard the best deck in the game? It's up there. It's in tier 1.
It's pretty high.
Easy. It's pretty high. We had a nice little triangle tier 1 meta. I wouldn't say like that's the end-all be-all because it's Vanguard, it never is. But like, Gears beat Night Rose, and Night Rose beats Luard, and Luard beats Gears, and that's just kind of how it goes. So it might be the best deck at the time if like half the field brings Gears, and you're like, I got Luard, guess my matchups are free, which of course they aren't, but
it's a meta
you're
choice.
going to survive. Yeah, it's just a meta choice. Whatever you think works best, whatever you're most comfortable with in that tier, you will be fine. All right, so Dragon Hub has been pretty active in this chat. Glad you found the stream, friend, and definitely check out our other videos. Hashtag Ask Absolution. I started playing the game a week ago, so I'm new. Can you help me out? I use Cosmic Hero, so can you give me tips on how to make the deck better and some cool combos I can use? Why is Jose not here? Jose knows all the Cosmic Hero stuff. Dragon Hub, I will say, if you go back through our channel and find some Cosmic Hero matchups, some deck profiles, you will learn all you need to know from Jose. He plays that deck very well and often had to play it into much stronger decks and sometimes win. All right, I think I'm going to do a few more. Hashtag Ask Absolution. How big do you think the gap is between tier 1 high tier 2 decks? And Keith, I'm actually going to host this one onto you since you've been rather quiet this call, whether I've been berating you for it or not.
Ryan. I'll take this one and hopefully not die.
If you do, Nate will make some funny comments.
Yeah, God damn it. All right, so the difference between there's a weird delineation between the tier 1 and tier 1.5. The big tier 1.5, just to define that, because we all know the big tier 1 is Night Rose, Gears, Luard, and Blasters or Sank Blasters, or some variation on Royals. For the high tier 1.5, we've got Wiseman Loop, I would say, Messiahs / Starvaders. damn it! I made a tier list myself. Like 3 days ago.
Aquaforce,
I can't
Aquaforce
think of it.
things.
What did you put in another one, Ryan?
I said maybe Aquaforce things.
Aquaforce, yeah. I think Aquaforce is a little bit lower. Oh,
Fair.
Blade Wings for sure. 1 set 11 hits, and Cohen, Blade Master Cohen. Now, as with the difference between those and Tier 1, I would say, every large tournament event you go to, you will see the Tier 1 almost guaranteed in the top 8. The Tier 1.5, you will probably see about, I'd say, every second event. You will see 1 to 2 of those in a top 8. Now, there's also, all the other confounding variables of what was the participation of each deck and whatnot. But in terms of power level, I think they're all extreme. Like, Wiseman has such a great game against everything that's not Tier 1, because Wiseman can get header around it and can get cannoneered and all of those different things that can happen to it. But then the Wiseman loop can pretty much destroy a lot of the other decks that are in this game. It just loses out to the Tier 1, which is unfortunate for it. For the other stuff, Blade Wings can just stall you out forever, and also has a really good kill turn on first stride with what is his name? Demagogue? I think it's Great Soulless Demagogue.
Mm-hmm. That's the one.
So it's definitely not insurmountable. It's not, something like Teledad or whatever the thing is right now in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zodiacs. Zodiacs, that's the one. But it is still an uphill battle, I would say.
Definitely. And while Vanguard is a weird thing to say, like, what's the difference? Because it is such a variable game. We've always known that is the game we play. It's something we have to deal with. And, trying to be as competitive as possible is what we strive for within the confines of the game that we play. So, as Keith said, some decks might be a little more feast or famine depending on what the matchup is. Like Wiseman Loop can win, but has a much harder time than maybe something that could be a little more consistent against all decks like Blade Wings. If the Tier 1 deck can't deal with stall, like your Chronicle sometimes can't, then it's going to lose more often than a deck that can deal with stall or just stalls better, like Luard. So, of course, all of these things have their matchups, but typically it's a lot harder of a reach to get from Tier 1.5 or Tier 2 to Tier 1, as those decks are just so impressive and so powerful in what they do, and they do it not only have a ton of power, but do it really consistently, and typically also draw a lot of cards or do something else really dumb to you or get a million attacks, and oftentimes you will just lose out if you're playing against a skilled player playing a Tier 1 deck. Of course, it all depends on so many factors in this game: luck, what you draw, the skill of the player you're sitting against. Like, am I saying a master with a pebble can definitely, beat a dude with a shuriken? I'll pull out I don't know who said that in Naruto. But while not always true for Vanguard, somewhat true in most ways of life.
Let me actually chime in for a second, because you mentioned one thing that I want to point out is that the one thing that the current Tier 1 decks have in common that are different from the Tier 1.5 and Tier 2 decks is that they are highly consistent and they draw a lot of cards. So like let's say Luard, you get your ritual going, you can free stride every turn. That's consistent. You get your perfect cards back in hand. That's consistency and card draw. Your Chronicle, you get your Mellum, you get your +4 quality draw consistently first stride every game. You get your header around to give 10k power defense. That's consistent. Your Night Rose, your Cannoneer, draws you cards. Your Ghosty fills your drop zone with whatever you want. Toolbox, it's highly consistent and it draws cards. What differentiates them from the Tier 1.5 decks, and why the Tier 1.5 can sort of keep up with Tier 1 despite not being either highly consistent or highly draw, is that the thing that the Tier 1.5 decks have in common is that they have one single combo that will just straight up kill you. Blade Wings, Demagogue Bonk Turn, kills you. Sank Guard, First Stride, kills you. Wiseman, Infinite Loop, Restanding, kills you. If you can get their combo off, they just win. But they're less consistent at getting to their combo simply because the Tier 1 decks draw a lot of cards and are also consistent. Whereas the Tier 1.5 or 2 decks, they may be like quote-unquote stronger, like better at closing out games maybe, but they're not as consistent in gameplay and drawing cards. And I feel that's one of the biggest differences between your top tier and then everything else below it.
Very fair. All right, got time for a couple more, and of course, whenever there's I like to do these because whenever there's a request for us to review a spoiler we didn't previously do, I do like to do it. So one more spoiler for your troubles: Maximum Rapture, Lucia, the Harmony Stride. That was a single R, and thus we did not review it. Stride, Auto, Vanguard Circle, Harmony. Auto, Vanguard Circle, Cell Blast 1, choose a face-down card from your G-Zone and turn it face-up. When this unit in Harmony attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your rear guards in Harmony, return it to your hand, choose a card from your hand, and call it to rear guard circle.
We should have gotten this card last set. It's an on-attack.
You should have.
It's an on-attack G-flip that gets you to GB2. This would have made Harmony almost playable. As it is, given the new support, it's still almost playable. It's very nice. It's a good stride. It's a great first stride for Harmony. Harmony's still not going to be a good deck. This might pull it out of the depths of tier F.
Yay! Little victories.
The Shawshank Redemption, it just like sees light from the 20-foot super fight.
And then gets pulled back in by 3 months of not getting support. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on Damage Check, everyone. I'm going to end it right here, but thank you so much for coming. This has been the Sixth Ranger.
Hello, and goodbye.
The Irish God.
I tried to talk today.
The Phantom Nate.
Bye.
And I am, of course, the Captain. I will see you all next week. Feel free to check out our Discord. I have already posted the link in the chat. Just took for my little, wrenchy moderator thing to find the Discord link if you haven't already. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, if you can find it. And we're happy to take any more #AskAbsolutions in the Discord. So we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See you.